Good evening, Mr. Bond, and welcome to the QI Lab. I see you are not alone. Oh, it's very lively. Thank you. Lively. Tonight's little episode is dedicated to secret spies and sleuths. Allow me to introduce my associates on a need-to-know basis. The hush-hush, James Acaster. The highly classified Cariad Lloyd. The top secret Daliso Chaponda. And the man with no name, Alan Davis. And their buzzers, James goes. Whew. Cariad goes. Daliso goes. Oh, that's very cool. Look, yeah. And Alan goes.
That's my favourite ever.
That's very good, wasn't it? Anyway, there we go. OK. I felt I couldn't spend the entire show stroking my pussy.
No. People think this show's smart.
Yeah, they're wrong.
They're wrong.
What might make you suspect that someone was a spy?
OK, I've actually got to say I'm very overqualified for this.
Oh,
right?
why? OK.
Well, I've met a spy.
Have you? Just
Yeah. My father's an African politician in Malawi. A few years ago, he was arrested. His office blew up. And panicked, he asked me and my brother to find him a spy, essentially, to investigate stuff. And all of this culminated in us meeting a spy at Wetherspoons.
Was it Shaken Not Stirred Saturdays?
What was he wearing?
Oh, he did not look like I expect. He looked more like a heavy metal drummer. He was like long-haired, big guy, lots of tattoos.
OK, so we're possibly going a bit more trad than that.
Okay.
So you've got a top-secret briefcase right next to you, my darling. If you pick that up, the thing that has betrayed a spy is in that briefcase. So if you open that up for me... Nobody has a proper briefcase anymore, do they? No. I like that noise, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
The chunk,
yeah.
it suggests business is afoot. Right, what have we got there?
I know I've gained a lot of weight recently, but is this an intervention?
This is a Fitbit. So what happened was, in 2018, they were tracking data from Fitbits, and it made it possible to work out where soldiers at American military bases had been jogging. So the data came from a company called Strava, and it's used by Fitbits and smartphones and so on to log exercise, and they released this heat map of activity. But it was a huge problem for places like Afghanistan and Syria because the army had given away 2,500 of these Fitbits as part of an exercise plan to get people moving, and everybody could work out where they were.
Guys, you've got to stay secret, absolutely secret.
Wow.
Here is this GPS.
Cariad, let's have a look. You've got a briefcase as well. See what's in yours.
I feel like the really cool kid at school.
Yeah.
Bought my own briefcase, guys. Oh,
What have you got?
I have got some moustaches.
Oh, which one do you think suits you?
Well, there's some here. There's the Smarty, the Rogue, the Scoundrel, Casanova, Party Boy. I think I'm a party boy. But then, what about the Frida Kahlo?
Oh, the Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Oh, nice.
The monobrow.
But the top really sells it.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just need a monkey.
You would not draw attention to yourself at all if you had that.
No.
Quite a lot of people look like that in Wetherspoons.
So this is a true story. 2008, an MI6 officer appeared on the One Show to talk about recruitment, and he was wearing a false moustache.
No.
And it fell off during the segment, so the studio lights had weakened the glue, and the interviewer eventually had to point out that it was peeling off, and he replied, "I was worried that might happen." And he put it in his pocket for the rest of the interview. They edited that bit out, and it was obscured in the final programme, so the viewers didn't know about it. But don't you think that's marvellous? James, you've got a briefcase. Let's have a look at your briefcase. What have you got in there?
I genuinely can't open it.
Oh, Jane, don't pretend you didn't have a briefcase at school.
James has got loads of briefcases.
Yeah, he's like,
right,
how did this work?
Yeah, hold on a sec. I think I've changed the combination. I'm going for 007. Yeah, hold on a
Putting
sec.
on gloves.
James,
One.
I'm not saying that your career as a spy is over. I just think...
I reckon this is broke.
Push it here.
Yeah.
I've got gloves on now.
OK. I really hope you can't do this first time.
Let's all go.
And with rubber gloves on, James.
I
Rubber
know,
gloves.
right?
What's in it? Is it worth it?
What have you got?
It's empty. I have a notebook. Oh, no, a passport
Right.
and some staples. Are the
OK.
staples meant to be in here?
Yes.
They are.
So they go together, the passport and the staples. What do you reckon?
I think that if you're a spy and you don't want people finding out your identity, you staple your passport together and then they can't open it and find out who you are.
Genius.
Smart.
Well, here's the thing. For years, the Soviet Union was able to catch spies due to staples. So American staples are made of stainless steel. They are not in the Soviet Union, and that meant that the Soviet Union ones rusted over time due to moisture in the air. And so official Soviet passports were stained around the staple brown. Passports forged in the United States by their agents did not have rust stains, and that would make people suspicious.
Wow.
I know, that's very
That's
cool,
really
isn't it?
cool, yeah.
Right, Alan, your briefcase.
Do you need help, or do you think you'll be able to open it
I
like
don't.
a
They're
turtle?
really difficult, Alan. Take your time.
Oh, straight away, first time, James. Pretty easy.
Here's the really annoying thing. I can't close this.
What have you got, Danny?
Got loads of fabric.
Laundry.
It's laundry.
So laundry and spying, how would you think that goes together?
Hide in the laundry basket like they do in cartoons.
You can sew things into things, Sandy. You can sew things into garments, can't you?
Secret messages, you could.
Yeah.
There are lots of stories, actually, to do with laundry and spying. So during World War I, Freda Lawrence, who was married to D.H. Lawrence, she lived with her husband on the Cornish coast, and she came under suspicion because she was rather exacting about hanging her laundry out, and it was thought that she was hanging it on the line in a specific way to give messages to U-boats. It didn't help that she was German. OK. Her father was Baron von Richthofen, not the famous one, but another Baron von Richthofen.
So many.
And she received deliveries of German newspapers every day, so they were just a little bit, suspicious. They were given a military exclusion order and made to leave the area, so it was...
She's hanging up, like, duvet covers with Attack at Midnight.
Yes, exactly. Well,
The base, arrow.
Go that way. It's not a completely ludicrous suspicion, James, because during the American Civil War, there was an African-American called Dabney, and he got a job as a cook at the Union headquarters, and at the same time, his wife worked as a laundress for a Confederate general, and she would listen to the Confederate plans, and then she would signal to her husband using the washing line. So, that grey shirt is Longstreet, and when she takes it off, it means he's gone down here and that. So it absolutely has formed people using laundry. But poor old Freda Lawrence. Sorry, just to get out my handkerchief. Here. Hello? Yes? No, Moneypenny, I've told you not to ring me at work. Yeah, thank you so much. OK.
The banker?
Yes. Who would use a secure phone like this?
Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner Gordon! That's such a good reference. Anybody else? Who would use a...
Well, again, this is totally unnecessary Chaponda backstory. But we needed one of those because we were always bugged.
Right.
And the reason I know this is in Kenya, the Malawi ambassador happened to be a high school friend of my mum and gave my mum a bunch of my dad's secrets.
Really?
Yeah.
When you say secrets, like...
He's been calling this woman. What's going on?
Oh, secrets!
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Have you ever had therapy? Because
Actually, is it too late to bring up? My dad is the mayor of Kettering. And on numerous occasions, People have tried to push him over, and I had to meet a spy in a harvester once. And let me tell you, he looked more like a bass player in a prog band. It was mad.
You're OK, though, now.
And I do go to therapy, just so you know.
So who might have had a red telephone?
Head of state.
Yeah,
kind of
presidents.
So the one that we normally think of is the US and Russia hotline. It was often called the red telephone. It was neither red nor a telephone, is the truth of it. Yeah, I know, I'm destroying things for you.
What?
So June 1963, we just had the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it took 12 hours at that time to get messages backwards and forwards. They agreed to establish a sort of direct form of communication. The very first message sent by the Americans in August 1963 read, "The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. Why would they send that?
Because it has every
That
letter,
uses every letter
in the world.
Yeah, what is called?
Oh.
The alphabet.
They were trying to show that they could send all the letters and that they could actually communicate directly, because, in fact, the system consisted not of telephones but of teletype machines.
Oh.
So there were 4 teletype machines in Moscow, 4 more in the Soviet embassy in Washington, and the message was sent over a 10,000-mile-long transatlantic cable.
Why is it called the red telephone if there's no red telephone?
Because I just think maybe it just sounds better, doesn't it? The 1971 system updated the use of a satellite connection, and most recently they've upgraded to a fibre optic link allowing both email and finally talking, but only recently.
Wow.
There were red secure telephones in the UK. They were introduced in the 1950s.
Oh, okay.
This, and that's why I was so careful touching it, is a real Pickwick phone. It's been lent to us by GCHQ.
Wow.
So the Pickwick system was in place and used during the Cuban Missile Crisis for secure communication, but it was between the then Prime Minister Harold Macmillan and President Kennedy. And basically this would attach to the cipher unit, and that sort of mashed up the speech and prevented eavesdroppers from understanding what was going on. What I like is the British Army, they thought this is the way to do it. They used to hire operators with strong regional accents so that if anybody was eavesdropping, they thought, well, they'll never understand what they bloody said.
Listen, we're going to invade at 5:20, OK? And it's going to be, it's going to go mad, I tell you. Everyone's going to be kicking off. They're not going to believe it. Understand? All right. Bye. All right. Bye. You wouldn't know.
You'd have no idea what was going on.
Even Welsh people.
We do have, and I think this is seriously cool, we have another secure phone. It's just over on the table because I don't want to touch it. It's also incredibly heavy. It's called Brahms, and it is a portable secure line that comes in a suitcase. And this is the one that was used by Margaret Thatcher during the Falklands War. That's very cool, isn't it? She was able to open it, James, which is nice. We are joined virtually now by Dr. David Abratat, GCHQ's departmental historian. Dr. David is one of a very few number of GCHQ employees to be avowed. What does that mean, David, you are avowed?
Essentially, it means I'm publicly known, and as the department's historian, my role's to tell the story of our organisation's history over the last 100 years.
So tell me, the one I want to hear about is there was a secret line called SigSally. Can you tell me about SigSally?
During the Second World War, the British and American governments needed to talk frequently on a secure line. And in November 1942, GCHQ's Alan Turing went over on a liaison visit to the States, to the Bell Laboratories, who were researching and developing a new secure communication system, which was called SigSally. And it was an absolute monster. It weighed 50 tons. It included 40 racks of equipment and drew something like 30 kilowatts of power. And it was certainly known by the users as the Green Hornet because of its irritating buzzing noise on the line. And the first SigSally was installed in the Pentagon in the States, and the second was installed in the basement of Selfridges in Oxford Street. So certainly on the first trial run on the 15th of July 1943, Winston Churchill was using this piece of equipment in the basement of Selfridges before they put in extension lines to 10 Downing Street, if the rumours are true.
Fantastic. Alan, did you want to ask anything?
Well, I've seen Thatcher's briefcase, and I just wondered, did she take it on holiday? Did she carry it herself?
Did Margaret Thatcher ever go on holiday?
Perhaps not.
Well, the briefcase phone you've got is called Brahms, which was developed in the early 1980s, and it was used by the British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher at the time during the Falklands conflict to communicate securely with her cabinet and to the senior military officers of the time.
Well, it's been fascinating. I don't know if you send love to everybody at GCHQ. I send love to everyone at GCHQ. And thank you very much, Dr. David Abratat. Now, complete this sentence. If you're invited to a penetration party, it's best to practice safe...
Safe words. In case things get hairy.
That's very... And I'm worried that you know that.
What are they penetrating?
That's the question.
Is it a person?
No.
Thank
It
goodness for
isn't.
that.
You are best to practice safe cracking. Penetration party is a perfectly innocent phrase used by safecrackers to describe an all-night event where they practice opening safes.
Wow.
And it was invented by accident. So there was a safecracker who's called Dave McOmie. He's a bit of a legend, this guy, OK? He edits the International Safecracker magazine.
Wow.
He looks exactly like I thought he would.
That's not even him. That's a general look, frankly.
Can we talk about the guy in the background with the orange back support?
Yeah, that is worrying, isn't it?
I really want to be in the shop where he was buying that back support, going, I'm going to a penetration party later. I'm going to need a back support for it. Just the best one you've got. It's a big penetration party. A lot of guys.
This one comes with a free matching cap. Oh, perfect. He's the only one with the headphones on. Who's he talking to? There's someone in the safe. I'm inside now. Are you wearing the back support? Over. Yeah, but I'm the only one. I'm standing out.
So they were at a convention in Philadelphia, and one of the attendees mentioned that he had a warehouse filled with about 80 safes which all needed opening. So they decided to do a masterclass with these 80 things. Everybody got their equipment. They spent all night. It's just fun, right? All night working on the safe. They managed to open every single one of them. And now it's become a thing. People have penetration parties. How would you open a safe? Do you know the different ways of?
No, I did. Twice.
Yeah.
I've moved house, and there's been a safe, a big safe, in the house I couldn't get in. And the second time it happened to me, I thought, I want to get rid of that. And it took 6 men.
To get rid of it?
I wasn't one of them. I didn't have a back support.
No.
Incredibly heavy thing. And to this day, I don't know what was in it.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the weight of it, presumably loads of gold.
The best thing is if the mechanism has slipped a bit, you can work on the dial. The easiest thing is what these guys are doing here, which is to drill a hole. I love this. Just use a sledgehammer, it says. That's it. Just get in and...
That'll do the same thing.
And biff it.
I'm going to go to a penetration party and ask if they run a course for briefcases. Guys, I've been struggling lately and I'm working my way up to safe. But first of all, I'm only halfway there with a briefcase. I'll just sit in the corner while you do the safe stuff. But,
James, put on the back support, strap in and watch.
There are other ways to break into secure buildings if you think outside the box. This is a wonderful story. In 1971, there was an activist group called the Citizens Commission to Investigate the FBI, and they targeted a draft board in Delaware. And to gain access, all they did was they left a note on the door that read, "Please don't lock this door tonight."
Whoa.
No.
Yeah, and nobody did. So it completely worked. And they went in, stole everything that they needed.
Genius!
Isn't that brilliant? And it revealed evidence of massive wrongdoing and spying and criminal activity by Edgar Hoover's FBI, which was then sent to journalists.
Wow.
200 agents went on a manhunt to try and find out who did it, and they never did find the people. Anyway, moving on. How do you kickstart a Spitfire?
Oh, what, does it have a crank?
Do you get a glamorous lady to get in and sort it out for you?
Well, she's probably one of the amazing women who delivered Spitfires once they'd been built. They were delivered by volunteers, and about a fifth of them were women.
Wow.
What do we talk about kickstarting now?
Oh, like you go online and you
Yeah.
say, please give me money.
Please give me money. I want to go to drama school.
Yes, that's, yeah.
What, and then rival me in my career? I think not.
No, not happening. It's crowdfunding. It's exactly...
No.
Yeah. So they needed to raise the money for the planes, and if you raised a certain amount, you were allowed to name the plane.
What?
OK? So there were crowdfunded Spitfires called things like All the Fun at the Fair, and carnivals and circuses, people put that together.
This is the early Boaty McBoatface, basically. Yeah.
The Dogfighter was the Kennel Club. Unshackled Spirit was funded by British POWs while they were being held in Germany. So what happened was they crowdfunded via a series of coded letters that were sent in and out of prison, and the prisoners would instruct that army pay be redirected to the Swedish Red Cross, and the Red Cross sent it to the British Army to fund Spitfires.
So they were still getting funds while they were POWs in Germany?
You still got paid even though you were being held. They redirected it.
That's incredible.
The Spitfire project as a whole owes everything to one woman who I think most people won't know about, but she is one of my heroines. She's called Lady Lucy Houston. She's fantastic. She knew that Britain would need a really strong air force. She knew this after World War I, and the government refused to pay for the development of aircraft, so she did. She personally paid the amounts of money that was needed for Rolls-Royce and Vickers Supermarine to create the engine and the aircraft that became the Spitfire. And I think most people won't know about her. She died in 1936. She never knew the impact of what she did, but she looked forward. Without her, we simply would not have had the Spitfire. I think she's amazing, and I think she's really worth knowing about. As indeed, do you know about Hazel Hill?
No.
Hazel Hill was 13 years old when her father, Fred Hill, was working for the Air Ministry, and she helped him do the calculations that eventually showed a Spitfire could be armed with 8 machine guns and not 4. And they did the sums at the kitchen table, and she, a 13-year-old, thought to have helped with the Battle of Britain. And in later life, she was saved by a Spitfire that she had helped to create. There was a German plane overhead, and then when she turned to look, a Spitfire was chasing it off. So that's
And then the pilot was like,
yeah, thanks
Hazel. Keep doing your maths.
At 13, she fixed Spitfires, and then we're like, James, can you open this briefcase?
Anyway, it's time to slip surreptitiously into the enemy territory of general ignorance. Fingers on buzzers, please. When you see SS, as you see here in this picture, what does the first S stand for? Cariad.
Steam.
Yeah.
That's general ignorance.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't do that on this show. Every time someone gets it, they should look at the camera and go,
That's general ignorance. I'm going to try that, James, from now on, yeah? I'm going to give that a go. That's general ignorance.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, is that it? That's my
So good, Sandy.
Okay. Right, it stands for screw. People used to distinguish between ships driven by paddles and ships that were driven by propellers or screws. And when paddle ships started to be phased out, the SS seems to stick around. And can I just say, to preempt any letters we might receive from, I don't know, say there was a pedant watching, it is true to say that 2 ships normally referred to these days as SS Great Western and SS Great Eastern both had paddles, but the SS prefix has only been attached to them in modern times. So in their day, they were known as Great Western and the Great
this is
Eastern.
entirely different from the German SS, which is much more
problematic.
Problematic.
We didn't name our ships after them as a little joke. SS, remember those guys? That's crazy.
So-and-so.
The way you said, in case there's a pedant watching, made me think there is just one guy who
Just
writes
one.
it all the time, and it's Stephen Fry.
I think you'll find.
and he just addresses it to you. Dear Sandy.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right, where are Sudokus from? James.
The newspaper.
I can't do them.
I can do them.
I can do them.
I'm number dyslexic.
Is there number dyslexia?
Yeah. It's I can't even say it. Discount.
Calcula.
So it's like numbers switch round when you're looking at them and do this. So Sudoku is a nightmare.
I think I need to borrow money from you.
I'll meet you in Wetherspoon.
So newspapers, yes. Where
Japan? I was sure I was right. Come on.
Are they actually American?
So, invented in the United States, 1979, by a puzzle magazine in Manhattan. And they were originally called Number Place.
Oh, fuck, I'm scared already.
There was a Japanese games manufacturer called Maki Kaji who brought them to Japan, and they wanted to give it a new name. And he said, my staff were pushing me to give it a new name, and I wanted to go horse racing. So I just created a name really quickly in about 25 seconds. Now, I'm going to say it all wrong, so I think we've written it out. What that means is numbers should be single, unmarried. But it's too long, and they decided to shorten it to Sudoku.
Wow.
And if you want to feel really dumb, they've got now these Rubik's Cubes, which are also Sudoku.
Oh, my God.
So,
Yeah, look at that. I've never seen someone want something so much, so quickly. Just like, as soon as you heard about it, I was like, Sandy's going to buy one as soon as it finishes.
this is over.
There's a Kickstarter. She's already signed up. Pledged £500. Done.
I had no idea.
Nightmare.
Heaven.
Nightmare.
But what about when you get to the last box and you realise you've got 2 8s in it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and somewhere right in the depths of
Yeah.
it there's a mistake?
Yeah. Time
Yeah.
for
You'll
it.
never find it,
No.
and you've been doing it for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You get your pencil and repeatedly stab yourself in the palm of the hand and then smear blood on your face.
It's
But
okay.
you'd only do that in a lockdown.
It's all right. Would you like to stroke my pussy? I'm serious. There you go. Let's have a stroke of my pussy. You'll feel better.
Whoever is on
Yeah.
sound duty is on the top of their game.
Yeah,
Because you riffed that on the spot, and as soon as it went towards you, they were like, bam! And they were just... give that person a BAFTA. People don't appreciate how good that was.
Glorious.
Brilliant.
It was Lizzie in sound.
Lizzie in sound.
She's got a real cat.
Sorry.
Come here. Quick. Stay in the room. Stay in the
And a
room.
very sharp pencil.
Right. In homage to one of the most famous fictional spies, I think we should end with a martini, OK? So, how would anybody like theirs?
Shaken, not stirred, no?
So the thing is, but shaking a martini will ruin it.
Yeah.
And I know this because I'm a martini fan, OK? So drinks like daiquiris, they're shaken. And the reason for that is that the ice dilutes the sweetness. Martinis are not sweet, so they don't need to be shaken. They're supposed to be served as concentrated as possible. Unfortunately, we can't drink the original martinis that James Bond is supposed to have had because one of the key ingredients is no longer available.
Oh.
It's known as a Vesper martini. It was named after the first Bond girl. She was called Vesper Lind.
Vespa's Italian for wasp. Did you know that?
Yes, that's the hence
So
the
scooter, the
scooter.
Vespa,
It sounds like a wasp.
wasp, you see?
I didn't know that.
The Vesper Martini contained gin and vodka and something called Quina Lillet. Doesn't sound pleasant, does it?
It would absorb a lot. You don't want that in your martini.
Anyway, the trick is to stir it. Have you got drinks there for yourselves?
Yes. OK.
Just to pour out into tribute here.
Woohoo!
OK. Do you know that Dick Van Dyke was once asked by Cubby Broccoli if he wanted to take over from Sean Connery in the role? And Dick Van Dyke reminded him of his British accent as Bert, the Cockney chimney sweep from Mary Poppins. Generally thought not to be a very good idea. Well, here we go.
There you go. Cheers.
Martinis are better stirred than shaken, and underpants are better shilk than shat in. And with that, it's the final dash towards the scores. Top of the pack with 9 points, it's Alan! Second with 8 points, it's James!
I couldn't even open a briefcase, and you got beat by me. Yes.
Third with -2, Daliso! And in last place with -15, it's Cariad! My thanks to James, Cariad, Daliso and Alan, and I leave you with this secret sign-off from Lucille Ball. The secret of staying young is to live honestly, eat slowly, and lie about your age. Good night.